Hi, so it's June and it's Pride Month, and I thought I'd do a video talking about that. Before I do, however, I'm going to mention that at the end of the video, I'm going to talk about the new bisexual t-shirts I have on Amazon. But more about that at the end of the video. Until then, I'd like to say Happy Pride to everyone who celebrates it. Pride is a celebration of queerness and togetherness for all those who feel a part of the community. So for those queer bisexuals out there, I hope that you have the most wonderful time at your local Pride and get a chance to see others like you and to feel one with your community. Now, having said that, I need to point out that of people on the bisexual spectrum, queer bisexuals only represent 6%. Now, I know it seems like, bisexuality is queer and queer is bisexuality and stuff like that, but all the studies show that a very small percentage of bisexuals, people in the bisexual spectrum, identify as queer. So the question becomes, what is the rest of us to do during Pride Month? Well, I know what I'm doing on this channel. I thought I'd talk about something that I've never talked about before, which is what I believe, what I see as the future of bisexuality, because it is super, super bright. And I don't think I've ever talked about it before. Okay, so first off, a little bit of history. I started this channel because I felt that there was a voice amongst bisexuals that absolutely wasn't being heard, and that needed to be filled. So that's why I started creating this channel. But that's not the reason why I've continued the channel. I've continued the channel because after seeing all the statistics, the good and the bad, I've started seeing a trend. American society is moving like a freight train towards bisexuality. In a way, now hear me out. Okay, so you might be thinking, well, that sounds kind of ambitious. That sounds kind of like, unplausible because you live in a situation where you have a hard time even coming out to people. But the truth is that if you look at the big picture, man, you own the future. Okay, so let me take you back first a couple 1,000 years. So there have always been times in society, in the world society, when bisexuality was put on a pedestal. So there was a time back during Alexander the Great's time where there was actually a troop, and the concept of this elite fighting force was that the person who created it thought that if they could get men who would get in relationships with other people in their troop and fall in love with them, they would fight harder because they're in love with the people they're fighting for and hence become a more elite fighting force. That happened. That was a thing that existed for a long time and it worked. And then there was Greek society where having a male lover was thought of as just the thing to do. And there was a Roman society where it was actually thought that if an older man took on a younger boy as kind of a lover, then it would benefit both parties. And people say, oh, that's pedophilia. It actually wasn't, because back in the day, it was thought of as a violation or a degrading of a young man to penetrate him. This was not any sort of sexual sort of relationship like that. It was an older man was supposed to take on a younger man, love him, nurture him, mentor him, and then he would go off and become a great person in society. And the most elite part of society did that as a way to kind of pass on knowledge and pass on power. This was bisexuality being used to benefit society. This is the way it's been done for a long time. And also there's another in Native American culture. There was a group called Two Spirits, and the Two Spirits were thought of as people who were closer to God. They were touched by God and the ability to feel attractions to both men and women. This is a real thing. This is the way their culture took on bisexuality. So throughout human history, there have been large pockets of time when bisexuality was put on a pedestal and celebrated. And you might be thinking, my God, it'd been great to live in those times. But here's the thing, that same time is coming very, very soon. And again, I can hear you thinking that this seems impossible because you live in the times you live in and you have the problems you have. But you got to go back only a couple hundred years to understand how trends have been changing. So for hundreds of years in European society, it was considered completely acceptable and completely normal for men to take on other men as lovers for short periods of time. In fact, up until 1950, it was considered just like a thing that straight people did. Like, it wasn't even thought of as like a different name. There was no other name for it. It was just, you're straight. Oh, you had, relations with that dude over there. Yeah, well, that's what straight people do. That happens. As long as you end up with a woman, that's all it mattered. And that's the way it was for hundreds of years. So the question is, why has it changed? Why is it now that you, going through the things that you have, feel that you can't be fully who you are? Starting in 1969, there was, well, first of all, a popularization of the term bisexual. Before then, it was just thought of as being a part of straightness. Then there was this word attached. And then the word that describes the thing that everyone has been doing for hundreds of years became tied to queerness. So that meant that all those people for hundreds of years who were bisexual and who were expressing their bisexuality suddenly got tied to this word, and this word got tied to gender queerness. And hey, don't fool yourself. You and your small circle of friends might think of queer, the word queer is this thing over here where it just means, oh no, if you have an attraction to more than one gender, then you're queer. That's not the way the rest of the world has seen it and sees it today. It is about gender queerness. You look back to 1970s when bisexuality and the LGBT movement was coming into full effect. The people who were thought of as bisexual, they were known bisexual because they were the most queer. They were your David Bowies. They were your Freddie Mercurys. They were your queer members of society. And those people were associated with bisexuality. And I don't know a time in human history when gender expression was celebrated as much as bisexuality was. Two completely separate things. Why? Because since we were cavemen, the expression of our genders has been important to us. You can't force someone else's gender expression on them. Queerness is an expression of gender expression, and no one wants someone else's gender expression pushed on them. So the difference is between where we are now and where we were a couple of hundred years ago, or where we were back in Roman times, is that for some reason, gender expression, a particular type of gender expression, has been forced on bisexuals. And the result is that the behavior that has existed since the beginning of time continues, but there's a divide between people who think of themselves bisexual and people who don't. But here's the thing. We are very quickly returning to a time when being bisexual just means that you're bisexual. That thing that has been acceptable for hundreds of years is coming back into fashion. There are many ways we can see this. For example, television. Oh my God, yesterday I came up with the official nominees for the 2018 Bisexual Representation Awards. And whereas last year, I had to fill in the blanks a couple because I wanted 5 in each category and not enough people were nominated and stuff like that. This year, there were nominees I had to go, I can't believe I can't put this person on the list. I can't believe this great representation of bisexuality can't fit on the list. But then I would look at the people who were on the list and go, nope, that's why, because there are just so many great representations of bisexuality on television today. It's increasing exponentially. Yes, you can complain if you want, but my God, there's so many great representations out there. And this has improved over last year, which has improved over the year before that, which has improved over the year before that. There was a time when there was only one show on American television that had a bisexual in it, and that was just 6 years ago. So the train of the bisexual movement is increasing exponentially, exceptionally faster than homosexuality. And now it seems to be happening in movies, where my last video I talked about the 3-4 movies that are out that had bisexual characters in it. This is the way society is moving. And it's moving there very, very quickly. And proof of that is if you look down at the youngest generations, the people who were 12, the people who were 13, the people who were 14, there are certain high schools in America where people are pretending to be bisexual because that is what the cool thing is to do. The cool people are bisexual, so they are pretending to be bi to be in the trend. That is amazing. And the thing is, these people won't be 13 years old forever. These people eventually will be running the country. And these people are the ones thinking, you know what? bisexuality is cool. So what does that mean? That means that the thing that has been acceptable for hundreds of years up until 1970 will again become acceptable. It'll become cool. And you who right now are struggling to come out or who are struggling to be who you are will be encouraged to be who you are, because that will be what the cool people do. So the future of bisexuality, as I see it, is incredible. It is going to be so amazing, and you're going to be so happy that you're able to work through this time in order to be who you are in times to come. Now, there are things that have to happen for that future to take place. The most important thing, the thing that none of us have control over, is the media. That is the most important thing, and that's already happening. The thing that we have control over is understanding the difference between bisexuality and queerness. We need to support our queer brethren and sisterin, but at the same time, we don't have to take on queerness to support them. You don't have to take on someone else's ethnicity to support them. You don't have to be black to support a black person. You don't have to be Muslim to support a Muslim person. You don't have to become something in order to support them. So we should support queerness, and we should support queer bisexuals and the gay community. But it doesn't mean that we have to take on their problems. So when we draw a strong line of what it is to be bisexual and what it is to be queer, that's step 2 of the things we need to take care of. And there are other things like we need a way to be able to see ourselves. One of the things the gay community has gotten right is it's very easy to see themselves when they're walking down the street. We need to make it easier to see ourselves walking down the street. Because when we see someone like us walking down the street, we feel a little better and we feel a little more encouraged to be who we are. And the more we are who we are, the more that the incredibly super famous people who are bisexual feel comfortable about being themselves, when they feel that they could be who they are without having to take on someone else's gender expression or someone else's gender identity. The more they feel that, the more you feel that, the more we will all kind of just be open about who we are, and the more the future will be ours. I can tell you that, what I do, the books, I do the t-shirts, I have the clothing company coming out, I do the lapel pins, I do all that. So which means that when I talk to companies, like when I call up customer service on Amazon, and I talk to the people and I have to say, yes, the name of my company is Bisexual Real Talk. There's always a pause afterwards, and there's always, it seems, some sort of comment like, that's really cool. Or when I show, like I was talking about my pins with Amazon recently, just yesterday, the day before, and like the image had to come up, and they saw the colors and they saw the heart, and every single person I spoke to about it took a moment where they interrupted the call and said, oh, by the way, I want to let you know that your pins are really nice. I really dig what you're doing. It's amazing. When we talk about it, the more other people feel comfortable talking about it, the more other people can come into who they are, and the more quickly our future will become the present. So I have devoted my entire life to bisexuality, not just because it's a good thing to do and it's helping people and stuff like that, and I'm really glad I am, it gives my life purpose, but more than that, I 100% believe, and I am betting my entire life on it, that the future of America is bisexual. And you can bet on that too. And it's just a matter of deciding what part you want to play. Do you want to play the part of waiting until it happens? Or do you want to play the part of helping to make it happen? I can tell you as a person who's helping to make it happen, it is highly satisfying seeing the world slowly come to where you are. I highly encourage you to enjoy that. And I am positive that all the bisexuals watching this who have been open about who they are can share in the comments section about the positive experiences they've had after coming out, whether it's like another friend going, yeah, I'm bisexual too, or someone just kind of looking at you with admiration. And please, you know what? Share that. If you are bisexual and you've had positive experiences about coming out as bisexual, share in the comments section, because I guarantee there will be a lot of people reading the comments section who have not gotten to the point where you are, and this is the way that you can help others. Well, you know what? Bring about the future we all want. So that's it. That is how I see the future, and I am betting my life on it that the future will be bisexual, and you all will be so proud of yourselves if you are part of creating that. That's the video. And if you would like to help yourself become visible to other bisexuals, I got t-shirts that could do it for you. And honestly, I sell t-shirts, I sell lapel pins. I don't do it for the money. Seriously, I make a thank you you all who read my books. I make a nice living reading my books, writing my books. I could go off and I could just do that and do that for the rest of my life and have a very nice life. The reason why I create these t-shirts, the reason why I create these lapel pins, and the reason why I'm creating the Bisexual Clothing Company is because there is that other thing that's missing from the equation of creating the future that we want. Us being able to see ourselves. And hey, bisexuals aren't going to have certain haircuts. If you're queer, you can have a certain haircut and share to other people that you're queer. If you're gay, you could wear certain things or act a certain way and express that you're gay to other people. Bisexuals will never have the same haircut. We will never have like the same mannerisms and stuff like that. But the one thing we can do is dress ourselves in a way that other people can recognize us. That's why I do it. Because it gives you all a way to talk to others without having to say a word. Whether you want to do it with a flag on your shirt or just a small pin somewhere on your body or your bag or whatever else, or whether you want to do it more subtly like with the clothing I'm going to be creating, which is going to be coming out hopefully in 2 months. Whether you want to do it in all those ways, it's up to you. But that last element for us creating the future we want is us being able to recognize ourselves when we're walking down the street. So if you want a part of that, I suggest pick up a couple of bisexual t-shirts. I added a couple of new designs, including my pocket heart designs. I've also included the pansexual flag colors because, hey, I've not given enough love to pansexuals. And I have a very strong opinion about pansexuality. And it's not that it's not important. It's not that it doesn't exist. It's that it's an identity. Bisexuality is a sexual orientation. Pansexuality is an identity. All pansexuals are bisexual, but not all bisexuals are pansexual. And I think it's important if you are pansexual, if you feel pansexual, to say that you're pansexual, because what it does, it tells people who are like trans and people who are intersex and stuff like that, that you are not only open to loving them, but that you think it's important that they know it. So for those of you who are pansexual, I have those my designs, my most popular designs, the pansexual colors. And if you're asexual, again, I got a lot of comments about how I don't exactly talk about asexuality the way that you guys think it should be talked about. But again, there is sexual orientation, and then there's descriptions on your characteristics of desire. It's not that I don't think that asexuality is important or that it's legitimate or that's valid. These are all really important, valid things. The thing is that whereas you can't be homosexual and heterosexual at the same time, you can be asexual and bisexual at the same time. You can be asexual and heterosexual, which means that these are two separate categories. That's my only thing. So for them as well, I have just added with my most popular designs, asexual designs, the pocket print in asexual colors, the heart in asexual colors. So no matter what type of bisexual you are, if you want to feel visible and you want to feel a part of a community, hey, express it on the outside. And I hope you check it out. Again, I have the books if you want to check those out. I have a couple of free books that you can check out as well, prequels to my main books. So if you just want to check out my writing, you can go ahead and do that too. Again, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I do many videos on the bisexual topic. I don't do them on a regular basis. I try to do, but when they come out on Sunday. So if you'd like to know when they're coming out, you can hit on the subscribe button. And then you can hit on the bell, and by hitting on the bell, you'll be telling YouTube that you'd like to know when a new video comes out. So for all the queer bisexuals out there, happy Pride. And for all the rest of us, stay cooler, my bisexual friends. Stay cooler. Bye.